Hey guys, Slimber here, and today we're doing a video on Prageru. I was gonna do this video, I guess, a while ago, like a year or two ago. I even had it downloaded, which I didn't realize. It's called, Why Atheists Should Teach Their Children About God. Because, I don't know, religious fucking conservatives are retarded. I don't know. Let's get right into this, shall we?
As a therapist, I'm often asked why depression and anxiety are so common among children and adolescents.
I don't know, maybe because their parents can't afford to pay the bills, or maybe because schools keep getting shot up, or maybe it's just because the world is fucking depressing right now, okay?
One explanation, almost surely the most neglected, is declining interest in God and religion.
Kinda, but that's kinda disingenuous. I mean, the thing is, religion does provide a sense of community, and it's one of the few things left after capitalism has commodified every other form of community we have. So yeah, that does help, but not because it's religion, because it's a form of community.
I see the consequences of this in my practice almost every day. And this is not merely my personal observation. A 2018 Harvard study involving 5,000 people examined how being raised in a family with religious beliefs affects the mental health of children. The study found that kids who attended a religious service at least once per week scored higher on psychological well-being measurements and had lower risks of mental illness.
I mean, yeah, when you lie to yourself and tell you that there's a fucking man in the sky that's gonna help you, then yeah, of course you're gonna think everything's gonna be okay. You know, there's an easier way to do that. Just lie to yourself and tell yourself everything's going to be okay. You don't need to add the, imaginary sky daddy.
Weekly attendance was also associated with higher rates of volunteerism, lower probabilities of both drug use and early sexual initiation, and a sense of purpose. Yet despite all the evidence that religious involvement leads to positive behaviors, Gallup reports that the U.S. has seen a 20% decrease in attendance at formal religious services in the past 20 years.
Yeah, because you're not covering any of the negative shit that religion has done too. Like, for example, push themselves onto people through the law. Like, not letting gay people get married until was that 7 years ago now? Fucking trying to control women's bodies. It's a lot of shit that religious people, have, not religious people, but, religious people and religious organizations have done that have turned people off in the last 20 years.
In 2018, the American Family Survey revealed that nearly half of adults under 30 do not identify with any religion. From a purely psychological point of view, this is not a good trend.
I think that depends who you ask. If you ask gay and trans kids how they feel about it psychologically, they're probably doing a lot better. You know why? Because you guys sent them to, conversion camps and shit like that. That was really shitty. Obviously, not all religious people, but, a lot of religious groups did that. A lot of Christian groups did that. A lot of Christian groups treated them like shit. So psychologically for them, it's actually a great trend. Psychologically, for a lot of people, it's not a horrible trend. The problem is, like I said earlier, the sense of community is gone because capitalism has commodified everything, and, the internet is part of the problem too, but mostly because capitalism has commodified everything. Oh, and don't forget the Catholics too, we're all fucking evil, and this omnipotent being all hates us because we killed his kid, and also the priests molested their kids. I think the Catholics would do a lot better too with that religion,
Nihilism, the belief in nothing, is a rich fertilizer for anxiety and depression. In contrast, the belief in God, a guardian figure who loves us, is an invaluable source of support and comfort.
Yeah, except when you start preaching shit and obviously not to the children, but to the, teenagers and shit. If you jerk off, this God is gonna send you to hell. If you fucking give any sort of temptation to, I don't know if they're gay or something, being gay or whatever, you're gonna go to hell. When you start preaching the you're gonna go to hell shit, oh, our God's sick of you, you're gonna go to hell, that defeats the purpose of whatever the fuck you're talking about. I mean, I guess the Mormons aren't so bad. They believe in 3 stages of heaven or whatever. I guess they're the better ones of this, but the rest of y'all are fucking ridiculous.
I am often asked by parents, how do I talk to my child about death if I don't believe in God or heaven? My answer is always the same. Fake it. There are many things you don't tell your children the full truth about. For instance, if your children hear about a tragedy that has occurred in your community, you tell them that it will never happen to them. We don't have a crystal ball and cannot know that bad things will not happen to our children. Yet we reassure them with a hopeful narrative. The same applies to believing in God and heaven. Even if you believe that when your life ends, your bones turn to dust and you are gone for eternity, such beliefs don't help children. They only scare them and create anxiety over death and dying.
Yeah, but so does talking to them about hell, and if you're going to talk to them about a heaven, you kind of have to mention that one too, when you're talking about Christianity, because that's an important part of it when it comes to death and Christianity. That also will cause fucking anxiety around death. So you keep leaving out all the bad parts because, oh, that doesn't fit your agenda, but, you know, all the great parts, oh, let's keep that one.
Belief in a benevolent God and a heaven does help children with their fear. In our current age of broken families, distracted parents, school violence, and nightmarish global warming predictions, imagination plays a big part in children's ability to cope. It is far better for kids to use their imagination constructing something positive, such as a God who cares about us.
Well, first of all, they don't need a God to be imaginative. Teach them to do something creative. Teach them to draw something, to make something. Teach them, to play outside and think of something imaginative. They don't need a fucking God for that. And in fact, there's nothing imaginative about the Christian God. You know why? Because it's everything you fucking tell them it is. All the imagination that can be drawn from that has been gone for the past 2,000 years. You know why? Because they already have a depiction of what they think a God looks like. They already have a depiction of what they think a heaven looks like. They already have a depiction of what they think a Jesus or a hell or an angel looks like. There's not much imaginative shit you can do with that at this point.
Then the dark nihilistic idea that there's no creator and protector and no purpose to our existence.
There's nothing dark about it unless you make it that way. Unless you actually make yourself feel that way. Oh, I'm not special. Oh, nobody's protecting me. Like, fucking Christ. The thing is, it wouldn't be that bad if you're talking about, hey, look, if you're looking for something, if you're an adult and you're looking for something to feel like you need purpose, that's one thing, because some people do need that. But then to say people who don't need it should indoctrinate their kids with it, really? No. Fuck off.
I am also frequently asked how parents can instill gratitude and empathy in their children. Again, the best answer is involvement in an organized religion.
No, the best answer is to show gratitude and empathy yourself. To lead by example to your fucking kids. Not to get into a religion. See, this is the problem. This is why we have a bunch of jackasses who hear the idea of something like universal healthcare, where their own taxes would pay for their own healthcare. They'd be paying less. But they see it and they go, I don't want to pay for nobody else's healthcare. This is the problem, because retards like this teach them that empathy is a man in the sky, a sky daddy. They think that is empathy, not taking care of... Really, you'd be taking care of yourself in that situation, but not helping your fellow man.
All traditional faiths encourage gratitude and empathy as antidotes to entitlement and selfishness.
Dude, you're literally preaching this on a platform that wants to push Christianity on people, that wants to push Christianity through laws onto people, that wants gay marriage to be illegal, that wants people to not be able to, have abortions when they fucking need it. That is where you're preaching this on. They are the most entitled motherfuckers ever because they think everyone should have to follow their religion.
These are the building blocks of strong character. They also protect against depression and anxiety. Additionally, religion provides children a chance for community. Being with people who share their faith can act as a buffer against the emptiness and isolation of modern culture.
I mean, that's the only thing I'll grant her is, like I said earlier, church is the last form of community that it's been commodified, but it hasn't been completely commodified through capitalism. But, we could reverse that. We could always reverse that and bring back, a lot of the social events that we used to have back in the fucking day. I mean, where did people meet in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 40s, the 20s, the 30s? I guess probably nobody was really hanging out much in the 30s up until the late 30s. Oh, no, World War II. No, we didn't enter World War II until the 40s. So the 30s, yeah. Where did people meet then? The 10s, the 1800s. But nowadays, the internet, everybody blames the internet. It's not 100% the internet. It's also because everything's been commodified. But, let's bring back local hangouts for people, Like, fuck. Let's put more money into parks. Let's put more money into recreation. Let's put money into shit. Like I said, schools should do more after-school events for the kids. Towns should do more events for people to meet each other, Fuck.
This is more necessary than ever in a world where teens can have hundreds of virtual friends and few real ones. And religion helps teach children mindfulness, a sense of self-control and discipline. Your young children might not be aware they are entering a house of worship, but they do know they're supposed to act in an appropriate manner when they are there. They have to relax their bodies and calm their minds. It is true that if you feel ambivalent about God and religion, your children will likely follow your example. However, if you practice religion or send your children to religious school, knowing it is good for them, you might surprise yourself and get something meaningful out of it too.
What even is this at this point? Oh, come on, please, if you indoctrinate yourself, too, and your children, you'll love it. You'll love Christianity. Come on, please join us. Indoctrinate yourself. Like, what the fuck is this? This has actually gotten weird, dude.
In other words, your children may bring you back to faith. It's certainly worth an extended experiment for their sake and for yours. Consider one more argument. If you take the idea seriously that your children should be free to choose or reject God and religion, they need to be exposed to God and religion.
You don't have to take your kid to church to expose them to God and religion if they want to learn about it. There's this thing called the Bible. There's this thing called a library. You can go there. You can rent a copy of it. You can read it. You can read the fucking Book of Mormon with it. You can read the Holy Quran with it. Whatever the fuck the Jewish one is. I think they also just call it the Bible. You can just read that and make a decision there. When they're old enough, not when they're children and can easily be indoctrinated, though.
How else will they be able to make a free and informed choice?
Your entire argument this time has been to take them to church and not give them a free and informed choice. You've literally been promoting that this entire video. And second of all, if they're literal children, they're not going to make a free and informed choice. You know why? Because their brains aren't developed enough to think in a free and informed way. Like maybe when they're older, when they're teenagers, when they're young adults, they can make a free and informed choice, but not when they're like 5, 6, 7, when they're young,
We live in a competitive, stressful society that idealizes materialism, selfishness, and virtual rather than real human connection. Having a religious community and a belief in God is the best antidote to all of that. Whether children choose to continue to practice as adults is something you cannot control, but at least give them a chance to believe in God and find comfort in religion. They deserve it. I'm Erica Komisar, psychoanalyst and author of Chicken Little, The Sky Isn't Falling, Raising Resilient Adolescents in the New Age of Anxiety, for Prageru University.
Well, guys, that was definitely a giant mess. That entire video was nonsense. And, yeah. So what do you guys think? I'd say leave a dislike, but, there's no point in that now. And, yeah, Slimber.